Hey there, thank you so much for deciding to hang out with me for just a couple of days while we talk about today's topic, which happens to be Home Assistant. Now, over a few different live streams that we had done earlier this year, several people had mentioned that I should take a look at Home Assistant and maybe even make some content about it, but I was apprehensive about it for a few different reasons. One has to do with my medical stuff that we're not going to talk about in this video. One of the others had to do with just the setup process, not necessarily of the operating system or the Home Assistant itself, but getting all of the different things to work with it. Everything I had seen for a long time involved a lot of YAML files and a lot of coding and that sort of thing. And here recently, while I was in Discord, a couple of people kind of egged me on, and I was like, screw it, let's do this. And so I just kind of want to walk you through how easy it can actually be to get in to Home Assistant. Now, with that said, this isn't going to necessarily be a tutorial. This isn't necessarily going to be a deep dive into how to do a lot of big configurations and automations and that sort of thing. This video is just meant to be a high level, here's how easy, like I said, here's how easy it can be to get started in Home Assistant and learn about it and grow it so that it fits your needs. So there are a couple of different ways you can go about installing Home Assistant. There's a tutorial on Home Assistant's website that talks about, downloading an Ubuntu desktop ISO and then going through that part of that setup process, and then mounting their recovery file basically, and then recovering in that way. I've never actually done it that way, though. I've got, of course, this B-roll over there kind of showing that process. The way I like to do it is by going over, I Googled, Promxox Helper-Scripts right here, and Promxox VE Helper-Scripts is the top result. Here recently, Techno Tim made a video about Promxox Helper-Scripts, and it was shortly after that video went live that the URL and some things kind of happened in the background. Based on my understanding, the Promxox Helper-Scripts changed a little bit. But if you Google it, it's probably going to be, you're looking for the T-Tech Promxox Helper-Scripts website or GitHub page, whatever the case is. And if we jump over to here, here it is, Promxox VE Helper-Scripts. There's a ton of really cool stuff in here that I have used for several different things, but really what we're looking for here is this Home Assistant option, where you can do a container LXC, you can do a core LXC, you can do the Home Assistant OS VM, Pimox Home Assistant VM, or Podman Home Assistant Container LXC. Now, when I set mine up, actually on the HL15 behind me here, I used the Home Assistant OS VM. So if you click that, it gives you a bunch of information saying, hey, this script will automate the process of creating a virtual machine using the official KVM disk image provided by the Home Assistant team, which is great that we're using an official image to do that. It involves finding, downloading, and extracting the image, defining user-defined settings, importing the attaching the disk, setting the boot order, starting the VM. It supports various storage types and does not involve any hidden installation. So this is a very bare bones installation that we're doing here. We're just going to do it via this installation script, again, just to keep things as simple as possible. And again, this is how I set mine up. And down here below it says the default settings are 4 gigs of RAM, 32 gigs of storage, and 2 CPU cores. And then, of course, it's the stable image. And there's some more information down here. I'll let you read that for yourself. You're smarter than I am, probably. So once you go through that setup, when you start going through that setup, you're going to be asked, do you want to just do a basic installation, or do you want to customize that installation? And really, there's not much to customize in there, though you can if you want to. I'm just going to go with the basic installation here. So I'm going to get logged in to my HL15 Promxox setup here. Of course, if you're wanting to do this and you don't have Promxox set up, you'll actually want to go over to Home Assistant, to their installation guide here, and then choose like a generic x64 or Raspberry Pi or whatever the case is. and follow the directions on this page. This is a great resource of information that will show you how to do this if you're not using Promxox and maybe you don't want to use the helper script. They've got great information on how to do this. However, again, this isn't necessarily the point of this video. So just note that it's there. Everything will be linked in the video description down below. So I'm going to close a bunch of this stuff out. So here I am. I'm logged in to my HL15. That's what I named my node there. So I would always know what I was logged into. So what I want to do is click HL15 right here, and I want to click shell. Here's my shell. I'm going to come back over to here, and I'm just going to copy this command, or you can just click the copy button. And I'm just going to paste that in. Click go. So now it says this will create a new Home Assistant OS VM. Do you want to proceed? Yes, I do. So I'm going to click in there. I'm going to hit enter on my keyboard. Do you want to use the default settings? Again, I'm going to say yes, but if you wanted to say advanced, you can go in and configure a few things as you need to if your setup requires anything custom or special or whatever. But again, for the sake of simplicity here, I'm just going to use the default settings and click yes. Now it's going to ask me, excuse me, now it's going to ask me which storage pool I want to use on this device. I'm just going to use storage 1. That's, a 32 terabyte hard drive array. That's what I'm going to use here. And I'm just going to select whichever one you want. Hit your key or your space bar to select that option, and then just hit enter. So here it's giving us some information as far as the Home Assistant version, the virtual machine ID, the machine type. If you went into the advanced settings, you could change this to Q35. You can change the disk cache. You can change a bunch of this stuff if you go through the advanced setup. But again, just trying to keep it simple for the sake of just kind of getting our feet wet with Home Assistant. So now that it's downloaded everything that it needs here, now it's going to go, it's actually created the VM, which is going to be 103, just like it says right over here. And that's it. Home Assistant is installed as a virtual machine. So 103, which is HAOS 12. And of course, I've already got another one that I was messing with this morning, but this is the one that we just did. So this is the one I'm going to use. I'm going to click console. Here we can see the OS. It looks like this looks very Ubuntu-ish. So we're going to give this a second to run through everything it needs to do. Then it's going to bring us to a screen that is very Home Assistant centric in as far as the layout, the look, that sort of thing. But it's all going to be in the terminal, kind of like this right here. So at this point, we're going to give, well, of course, as soon as I open my mouth, that's how it seems to work. So right here is the IPv4 IP address. It's 192.168.0.28. But we're going to be on port 8123. Now, look, I've got like 3 different instances of Home Assistant running right now, so going to homeassistant.local isn't going to help me. So I'm going to do this .28 on port 8123. So it says that it's preparing Home Assistant. This may take up to 20 minutes, and that's, depending on your hardware, that's absolutely true. If you want to know what's going on in the meantime, while it's going through and doing all of the setup, you can just click on Show Details. And you can see all of the stuff that it's already done while it was waiting for my dumb ass to get to this screen. Of course, you can also, read the vision. You can join the community, or you can download the app. Let's click that. Yeah, on either Google Play or the Apple Store. So at this point, man, it's just going to be a matter of waiting until this screen has kind of reloaded, and once it's done that, we'll come back and go into the next steps.
A few moments later.
Okay, so it wasn't quite 20 minutes. It was probably 5 minutes. But now it says we can create our smart home, or we can restore from a backup. Now, I just want to start fresh here, so I'm going to click on Create My Smart Home. So, of course, first thing I got to do is put in my name, my username, and my password. And then we'll click on Create Account. And you can put in your street address. I'm not going to put mine in for the sake of, well, this is a tutorial. But I'm going to click Next. My country, fine, I can put United States. I think that's pretty apparent. We're going to go ahead and click on Next. And then you can decide if you want to share anonymized analytic data so that they know how their products are being used, that sort of thing. That's completely up to you. I'm not going to. And I actually appreciate that all of these are turned off by default. Most organizations, small, large, whatever, will have all of this turned off on or turned on automatically. And then you'll have to go through and disable all of that. And it really speaks to their credibility that they're just like, you can turn this on if you want to, but we're not going to force you into it by default. I'm going to click next. And hey, look, they already found some compatible devices here. We're going to add some more very, very easily, though. I'm going to go ahead and click on finish. And here we are, right? This is what my dashboard looks like when I first log in. And just to show how intuitive this is, like I've got an Elgato key light on either side of me right here. And with that click, they're off. And with that click, they're on. And of course, I can toggle, you know, either of these however I want. And they're already set up. And honestly, these lights were kind of the first thing that intrigued me about it, because Elgato doesn't integrate with Google Home. And that made things complicated for setting up routines and that sort of thing. So I was thrilled when I found out that Elgato automatically integrated into Home Assistant. Now, it also found the three mini speakers, the Google Home Assistant speaker things, the little teeny tiny ones. Just like that, you can turn those on, you can play stuff on them. But I don't have anything associated with that just yet. But it already found those as well. So I know this isn't impressive, right? It's not. So I tell you what, let's come over here to settings, and let's take a look at our devices and services. Right, we've got 2 Synology devices and an HP OfficeJet printer. So let's go ahead and actually configure. Oh, it actually found some of my other networking gear there. That was good. Let's actually configure this DS23 Plus, because it's got some other stuff attached to it as well that will show just how much you can do with a single integration. So I'm going to click configure. Username, password, port. I'm going to set this on port 5000 because that's a Synology port that you can use. And because I'm on port 5000 instead of 5001, I'm not using an SSL for that. So I don't need to verify or use an SSL here. I can click submit. And here we can see that the Synology DSM already popped up. We've got the Synology itself. We've got a couple of hard drives. We've got a volume. We've got surveillance station. And we've got 2 cameras, one for fireside, one for poolside. So let's just go ahead. Let's add, we just call this studio, let's just do NAS. All of that is fine. We'll click add. We're going to say studio for basically all of this stuff, right? But for the fireside and the poolside, that's actually going to be our backyard. So I'm going to click that. I'm going to call it backyard. I've always hated the backyard is one word, but front yard isn't. So many things about our language, man. Camera. And I think there was a really cool camera icon back here that I found that I wanted to use. There it is, like that one, right? I'm going to say okay. And then same thing here, backyard. I'm going to click finish. Cool. So now we've added that Synology device to our Home Assistant. And if I come back to the home, the overview page, hey, look, that's my backyard. You can click one of those, and it will more or less give you not always a real-time feed, but you can. There it goes. Sometimes it's a little wonky. There's probably some updates that need to happen there, but it can absolutely just that quickly. We've added both of our Synology cameras to that. Here is the entire DS23, which is the NAS on top of my rack back there. All of that was just a single integration. Like that was just logging in to one Synology device. So you can then, like, let's come over here. We're back in settings down here, and we can click on like devices and services, right? We can click on add integration. And so I've got this TV right here. I had a smaller one, and then I got a hold of a bigger one, not a newer one. It is a little newer. Anyway, it's a TCL Roku TV that's got, like Plex and all of that stuff that you can do with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to search for Roku, right? And I'm just going to click Roku. I know that the IP address on that is 104. So I'm going to do 192.168.0.104 and click submit. Hey, look, there it is. There is that 32-inch TCL Roku TV that's right there behind me. It's in my office. So cool. We'll click finish. And again, if I come back to my home screen, right there is the office, right? That wasn't there a minute ago, but if I click that, hey, look, the TV turned on. And I know you're thinking, and? So what's your point? Like, I can do that with the remote. I can do that with Google. Here's one of the things, when I realized I could do the Roku TV thing with this, is that you can set up schedules, right? So let's say I'm going to go over here. I'm going to click settings again. And I'm going to come over here to automations and scenes. And then I'm going to, and it says, hey, start automating. Let's create an automation. There are motion activated lights, zone notifications, and create new automation. This is what I'm going to do, is I'm going to create a new automation. So I'm going to click that. I'm going to add a trigger. The trigger is going to be time and location. The time, it is currently 12:08 p.m. I'm going to set this to 12:10 p.m. Then I'm going to, you can add additional conditions and that sort of thing. But what I want to do is actually click Add Action. And the device, I'm going to select my device, which is this 32-inch TCL Roku TV. And I'm going to turn it off, right? Just like that. I'm going to click Save. TV off. Super, super informative there, right? So then we can come back over to our settings and we can look at our automations and scenes. And right there is TV off, right? And you can toggle this automation to run, or you can toggle this animation on and off. Let's say you only want it to run right now. Maybe you're going to be gone for a while. You don't want it to run when you're not here. Maybe you've got any number of reasons to just disable that automation. You can toggle your automations on and off by just clicking the little toggle right there. Also, you can click the three buttons over the three circles, the overflow menu there. You can get more information, you can show settings, you can assign a category, or if you want to test it to make sure it's going to work, rather than waiting, see, at exactly 12:10, that TV turned off. So I'm really glad that I picked that time so we could see it happen in real time while I was talking about this. But the point is, you can manually run one of these if you wanted to, right? So I could say, create a new automation. I'm going to do the same thing. It's going to be a device. Oops, no, I lied. It's not going to be a device. It's going to be a time. Got ahead of myself. Yes. Add trigger, time and location, time. We're going to say like 12:15 because that's several minutes from now. But I just want to demonstrate something. Add action, device, 32-inch TV. We're going to switch this to turn on the TV at 12:15 p.m., right? Super simple. Again, TV on. I would be more descriptive when you're setting yours up. Click Save. And just like that, now we have this. Now we've got two of these automations set up and running, right? This one ran a minute ago. I love that it shows you how long ago it ran. So you can just quickly look through there and notice if anything doesn't look right once you've got several automations up and running. But if I wanted to, I can just click Run right now. And hey, look, TV just turned on because I automatically ran that automation. Again, run it again. TV turned off just that quickly and easily. So the reason I did this, the reason I initially set up Home Assistant with the Roku integration was so that my kid's TV would turn off at a specific time in the evening. He likes to watch TV when he goes to bed. My wife and I do too, but we can turn off our own TV. Because of his disability, he doesn't have the fine motor skills to do those kinds of things. So we've just got it set up so that at like 8:30 or 9 o'clock, depending on the day, his TV will turn off automatically so that he can get some rest, and that way the TV's not on all night, because that's how it used to be. But with this, we're able to just have it automatically turn off at a certain time. And that was one of the big things for me. But taking that a step farther, I tell you what, let's do something else here, right? Let's see. Let's come back. We're going to do another automation here, just real quick. Not an automation, an integration. Devices and services. We're going to add an integration here. I'm going to do TP-Link, like so. I'm going to click that, and then this is going to be TP-Link Smart Home. Those are the lights, the LED lights that I have in my shelves here behind me. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, so I looked it up in my router setup here. The L900, right there is our IP address. So I'm going to come back over to here. I'm just going to put that in, click Submit. Now it's going to ask me for the username and password for my account for for the light app, the app that I use to manage my lights on my phone or wherever. Cool. So after I put in my username and my password and I click to go, now it's saying, hey, shelves, L900, TP link. Cool. So then I can say, we're going to put that in the studio as well, right? So if I come back again to my home screen, right here, these shelves, hopefully you'll be able to see it, kind of toggle on and off there in the background, right? So cool. Now I've got a bunch of light switches basically for my TV, for my lights over here, for that light back there. Who cares? Let me show you why I care, right? So I'm going to click on settings. I'm going to go to automations. I'm going to create a new automation. I'm going to click at new automation. Add a trigger, device. In this case, I'm going to do the 32-inch TV. And here are all of the different options that you can use as toggles, right? So if the TV is turned on, if the TV is turned on, right? And it's been on, you can set for, if it's been turned on for X number of time or whatever, you can do that. You can add another trigger if you want to. You can add conditions if you want. Again, we're keeping things simple here. If the TV is turned on, then I want to do something different here. I want to go to device and I want to find the L900, the shelves down here. I'm going to click that and I want to turn on the shelves, right? And I can set the brightness to, let's just say 100. I think it's 100. We're going to set it, screw it. We're going to put 100 there. I'm going to click save. Shelves on with TV, right? We're also going to do the same thing, right? What we're going to do, and what's cool about this, I didn't spell shelves right. It's fine. This is a tutorial. Now, if I wanted to, I could then come over to here and click duplicate, right? Why would I do that? Well, because then it's easier to not have to dig through everything again. And I can say when the TV is turned off, then turn off the shelves, where it's turn off the shelf, right there at the top, right? Click save. Shelves off with TV. I think I spelled it right that time, right? We'll click save. Cool. So now the TV and the shelves behind me are on. Turn off the TV. I think, hey, there they went. When I turned off the TV, it took a second because the TV has to, there's a bit of a relay time in there. And when I turned off the TV, the lights turned off as well, right? Turn on the TV, we'll give it a second. And then those lights should turn back on as long as I configured my, hey, there we go. And they're set to 100% like I told them to be. So that's what I've done like in my bedroom, for instance. And in fact, I did a short about this. So basically, when I turn on my TV in my bedroom, the LED lights in my room come on, as well as the lights behind my bed. When I turn off my TV, all of that turns off as well. Also, let's say I'm watching something on Plex. When I start playing something on Plex, the lights will dim a little bit. When I pause my Plex video, the lights will turn up a bit. Maybe we're going to get a snack. Maybe we're going to go to the bathroom. Maybe we got to get a drink. And you don't want to stumble over stuff on the floor. You can very simply do something like this. In fact, I'll see if I can remember how to do this. First thing we need to do though is I need to come over here and I need to do another device service integration, right? I'm going to come over here to integration and I'm just going to type in Plex, right? Just that quickly and easily. Continue to Plex TV to link a Plex server. Cool, let's do that. So now I'm going to get signed into my Plex account. Cool, now I've got 3 Plex servers on my network. Which one do I want to use? Well, I want to use the Plex HL15. Click submit. Ooh, there it is. Cool. So now where is this? Again, I'm going to put this in the studio for the sake of what we're doing here. I'll click finish. Okay, so now we've got our Plex media server set up. We've got a TV set up. We've got our lights back behind me set up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back to settings and I'm going to create an automation. Okay, so we've already got TV on and off. So like if the TV is on, the lights come on. If the TV turns off, the lights turn off. That's pretty straightforward. So let's create another automation. We're going to do another automation here. We're going to add a trigger, and again, it's going to be a device. We're going to do the TV, and when the TV starts playing, okay, so what we're going to do is click Action, then we're going to do Lights, we're going to turn on, we're going to choose our device, which in this case will be the shelves, and then we can set a transition for how long it takes to get to the next state. We can change the color if we want to do that. Let's actually do that. Let's set it to this crazy green color here. We're going to set the brightness. We're going to turn this down to like 13%, right? Just again, for the sake of testing this. We're going to click Save. So when the TV starts playing something, the lights should turn green and turn down. So let's test that. Oops. So I'm going to turn that all the way down. And it will take it just a couple of seconds, most likely, once it's actually playing. Let's see if it works. Hey, look, just like that. Now the lights are dim. Now the lights are green. So now, for the sake of not getting copyrighted, there it goes. Turned off. Lights turned off. Okay, so the camera being out of focus was really bugging me, and I didn't want the end of this video where I wrap this up to be that far out of focus. So, as I was saying, those are just a few things that you can do. You can't fix, you can't fix that flicker. That's a camera issue that I need to fix. Anyway, those are a few things that you can do with Home Assistant, with the stuff that you've probably already got around your house, whether it's lights or TVs, Google Home Assistants, Alexas, whatever the case is. There's a lot you can do with your Home Assistant setup, even if you don't have a lot of money to spend, because Home Assistant is free and a lot of your smart devices will already connect to it. But with that said, there are things that you can buy that will help with some of those automations, like specifically that right there. That is an Aqara presence sensor that uses millimeter wave technology to basically lay out a room in the app on your phone and then detect when somebody or something, or basically when a person or an animal is there. And then you can have it do things in the room based on where somebody is in the room, basically. So I've currently got that Aqara right there set up to trigger Home Assistant to basically turn on all of the smart lights in this room. I've got a couple of dumb lights in here, but all of my smart lights get turned on automatically when I walk through the room. If you've watched this channel before, you'll know that I've talked about, in fact, even earlier, that's the door to the backyard. We spent a lot of time back there in our pool, on the trampoline, next to the fire pit, whatever the case is. And sometimes on the weekends, it's dark when we're going through here, and it's just nice to have these lights turn on automatically so we're not trying to stumble through a dark room. And that was, I don't know, $70 or $80 or something. But Aqara has actually reached out to offer to sponsor other content with hardware, of course, sending me other hardware devices if I wanted to check that out here on the channel. I have declined that so far, but leaving that open for future collaboration, depending on what kind of interest you guys have in specifically this video and Home Assistant and that sort of thing. But again, this video wasn't necessarily meant to be a tutorial. This was just kind of a getting our toes wet just to see how easy it can be to get Home Assistant set up with just what you've got in your house already. And hopefully you enjoyed kind of getting kind of a high-level overview of how easy it is to do that. If you did enjoy this video and you found it useful, helpful, whatever, do me a favor, like and subscribe. That definitely does help me gauge the interest in these videos. Also, I hate to do this, but YouTube has really been screwing its creators over with AdSense revenue lately. I talked about it recently in a live, or in a live stream, as well as I made a blog post about it. But RPMs, basically what the advertisers are paying and what the creators are actually getting paid, there's a huge there's a huge difference between those numbers. That's what I'm trying to say. And so if you want to help, if it makes sense for you, it's not obligatory, but if you can help, you want to help, there's a link down there in the description for Patreon, becoming a channel member, a PayPal link, all kinds of different ways that you can support the channel financially while YouTube is figuring out our finances for us. So again, I'll try to have links in the description so you can check out some different things. But I think with that said, I do want to wrap this up. As I said at the beginning of this video, I do want to thank you for spending the last 25-ish minutes with me today. I hope you're having a great day, and I'll talk to you in the next video.